Hey guys, today we're going to be looking at the patch notes for the 4.2.0 PTB, the Descend Beyond Chapter 17 patch notes for the player test build. This new chapter is looking pretty interesting so far. If you haven't already seen it, there's a new killer, a new survivor, graphic reworks, and a new map that is currently locked. So hopefully we'll be able to get a chance to see that new map shortly. Well, without further ado, let's get into the new chapter and the PTB patch notes. With the new chapter, Unleash the Blight, an alchemist consumed by his research. Ambition brought him to the entity's realm, but his hunger for power destroyed him. Mutated and mad, his power, blighted corruption, provides him with unnatural abilities to quickly pursue and ambush survivors. Plan your escape with Felix Richter, a successful architect who was torn away from his lavish lifestyle. Resourceful and bold, he has clever methods to stand against the oncoming evil and plan out the one thing that matters to him most: returning home. Added a new killer, the Blight. For those who don't know, the Blight is the alchemist who was mentioned previously in several of the archive tome entries. I believe it was tome 1. Added a new survivor, Felix Richter. Added a new rare offering for killers and survivors, the Sacrificial Ward. This cancels other offerings that would send you to a specific realm, unless all 4 offerings match. Added a new common offering for killers and survivors, Bloodied Blueprint. Reveals the aura of basement hooks to you for 20 seconds at the start of the trial. If a map has a killer shack, this offering increases the chance of the basement will spawn below it. Added a new common offering for killers and survivors, the Torn Blueprint. Reveals the aura of basement hooks to you for 20 seconds at the start of the trial. If the map has a main building, this offering increases the chance that the basement will spawn below it. Added a new common offering for killers and survivors, the Antidoted Blueprint. If the map has a killer shack, this offering increases the chance that the hatch will spawn within it. Added a new common offering for killers and survivors, Viggo's Blueprint. If the map has a main building, this offering increases the chance that the hatch will spawn within it. So, a lot of cool new offerings there. Can't wait to see what you guys think about it. This will help survivors and killers find the hatch or the hooks for the basement a little quicker. Features and content. Many in-game objects in Dead by Daylight haven't been changed significantly since the game's launch. As a part of our ongoing effort to enhance the game's visuals, many of these objects got visual updates in this patch to bring them closer to our long-term vision for the appearance of the game. Some realms also got visual updates, with more coming later in future patches. Visual updates of several common in-game objects. Visual update for the generators, including changes to models, animation, and VFX. The survivor repairing animation and VFX were also updated. Visual update of the palettes, including models and VFX. Visual update of the lockers. Visual update of the chests, including the model and changes to the survivor's interaction. This survivor interaction has been updated. Visual updates to some maps, including additions of breakable walls. Springwood, updated Banham Preschool maps 1 through 5. Yamaoka Estate, updated Family Residence and Sanctum of Wrath. Both Springwood and Yamaoka Estate realms will have an increased appearance rate during week 1 of the PTB, as per standard with new maps in PTB. Update aiming when using the flashlight. Up to 4.1.0, the flashlight would aim up and to the right of the center of the screen. In 4.1.0, the aiming animation was updated, which caused the flashlight to aim more towards right of center. Now the aim should be squarely in the center. So that'll be a little easier for aiming flashlights, hopefully, for people who have mastered the previous style and then the new style, and now it's changed. Alright, so they didn't mention anything about a new map. There is rumors of a new map, however, it is currently locked due to some bugs. Oh, maybe they'll get into it down here, but we'll see. In the bug fixes. Fix several issues that may cause survivors to be misaligned during mores. Fixed an issue that caused survivors not to be stunned when shot by the Deathslinger. Fixed an issue that caused Hillbilly's carry and lunge speed to be reduced when equipped with the tuned carburetor add-on. Fixed an issue that caused all Legion characters to use Julie's animation when the empty stare mask was equipped. Fixed an issue that may cause the Oni to lose the ability to enter Blood Fury. This was when if you gain the Blood Fury passively rather than collecting orbs. Fixed an issue that caused the Oni's blood orbs to sometimes flicker in and out of visibility. Fixed an issue that caused the Plague's Vile Purge to arc higher than previously. Fixed an issue that caused the Trapper's Bear Trap or a Knot to appear during the tutorial. Fixed an issue that caused a regressing generator not to turn red once reaching 0 progress when using the Surveillance perk. Fixed an issue that caused the pull-down prompt to be replaced for survivors standing next to a pallet while injured and with the self-care perk equipped. Fixed a crash that would sometimes happen when selecting a low or medium graphics quality from medium and above. Reduced rank update errors. HTML markup in player names during social notification post invites are now handled properly. There are some known issues, it appears. Disturbed word map disabled on PTB due to an existing bug. The Nightmare. There is a known issue with the lighting in Yamaoka Estate and Springwood Realms when using the Nightmare as the killer. Please refrain from using him during the PTB to avoid this. So don't play some killers, only play one killer. Don't play all the killers. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the new killer, the new survivor, and the perks that come with it. So let's go into a custom game, show you what we're looking at here. So we're going to start out with the new killer, the Blight, aka the Alchemist. He is labeled as an intermediate. Bring my smaller. There we go. Just look at this sexy man. Alright. Getting into his perks. These perks are pretty interesting, I'm not gonna lie. I really like them. I like both the killers and the survivors perks. I think they did a really good job with these. You guys can tell me what you think, either in comments or however you want to tell me. So first off, we'll go into Dragon's Grip. This is his first teachable perk at level 30. After kicking a generator for the next 30 seconds, the first survivor that interacts with it will scream, revealing their location for 4 seconds and becoming afflicted with the exposed status for 60 seconds. Dragon's Grip has a cooldown of 80 seconds. This is at rank 3. So at rank 1, the cooldown goes from 120 seconds to 100 seconds, 80 seconds. So this is pretty cool. I like it. Right now on the PTB, I believe that the scream is bugged, so they don't scream. But yeah, after you kick a gen for 30 seconds, the next person who interacts with it screams for 4 seconds and is exposed for 60 seconds. Super powerful in my opinion. I'm like, pair that with Nurse and easy 4Ks. Hex Blood Favor. This is the level 35 teachable. A hex that gains the entity's favor when blood is spilled. When a survivor is hit, pallets within 60 meters of your location are held in place by the entity for 15 seconds. These pallets cannot be pulled down. Hex Blood Favor has a cooldown of 40 seconds. So every 40 seconds, the entity will lock pallets in a 16-meter radius after you hit somebody for 15 seconds. Yes, that means pallets that are up cannot be pulled down mid-chase. So you hit them, they go to a pallet, and they lo and behold see that these pallets are locked. Or possibly another quick down. This perk is really cool. I really like it. Pallet interactions, locker interactions, in my opinion, are really cool things. So I'm glad they're introducing this. We'll see how it fares by the end of the PTB. Hex Undyne. So, while Hex Undyne is active, survivors within 2 meters of any totem have their aura revealed for 6 seconds. Basically, if they're working on a totem. When another Hex totem is cleansed, that Hex transfers to an available dulled totem, losing any tokens in the process. Now, think about it. Devour Hope, 3 stacks, everybody's exposed. They're looking for Devour Hope. Break it, Devour Hope gets moved. However, it gets flattened back out to 0 stacks. I think that was their intent with this perk. What they failed to realize was Hex Haunted Ground. Hex Haunted Grounds has 2 totems that spawn. When one is broken, the other one deactivates, becoming a dull totem. When the one that is broken activates, then all the survivors are currently exposed for X amount of time, I believe up to 60 seconds depending on the rank of the perk. Well, with Hex Undyne, Haunted Ground then transfers to another dull totem, which we know there is one since Haunted Ground spawns a second, and that one becomes deactivated and dull once the first one is broken. So yes, you can have multiple Haunted Ground in this case, with Hex Undyne taking up 1. That would be 4 Haunted Grounds if they only broke the Haunted Grounds. So 4 minutes of exposed status for all the survivors throughout the entire game. This would also affect No One Escapes death. At the end of the game, you have Hex Undyne, Noed pops up, they find it, break it, it's to another totem. Those don't need any tokens. Ruin doesn't need tokens. Third Seal doesn't need tokens. Yes, Huntress Lullaby, yes, Devour Hope, those need tokens. Who really cares? So, in my opinion, super strong perks. A lot of people will be playing, in my opinion, all 3 of these to some extent. I mean, you got Juggling Totems, you got Lock Pallets, and you got Exposed. You do gens, you die. Like, I mean, these perks are really cool. Let's go to those offerings that they were talking about here. So the first one I want to talk to is the Sacred Hand. This is going to be a rare offering, Sacrificial Ward. This is a rare offering, meaning it's green, so you're going to see it quite a bit. Calls upon the entity to reject all offerings that alter the chance of being sent to a specific realm. This can only be cancelled if 4 identical realm offerings are played. So one person puts up Hawkins Lab, or let's say they want to go to Lampkin Lane. Well, all 4 survivors will have to do it. Now, if one survivor offers the Sacrificial Ward, let's say you think you're going up against a Peekaboo Myers that wants to go to Hawkins. Well, not only the killer, but the other 3 survivors would also have to put up a Hawkins Laboratory. So this is really cool if you don't want to be jerked around the realms, and you just want to leave it random. Or if you're a killer and you think you're going up against a Swift that wants to bully you. Now, off to the common offerings, we have the first one, the Annotated Blueprint. Tremendously increase the chance of spawning the hatch in the Killer Shack if the map has a Killer Shack. Now, most of the maps, I would say 80 to 90% of the maps have a Killer Shack. So there is a very good chance, especially when paired with a teammate who's going to send you to a map that has a Killer Shack, like Red Forest, for example. This is a good place to look out for the hatch. So we're pretty much force spawning the hatch. I don't know how this is going to play out in the long run. We'll have to test it a bit more and see. But those Swifts that are going to be, or at least the cowardly people who hide in corners and wait for the hatch to spawn, they will be using this offering. So they have a good chance of finding that hatch once it does spawn. Now we got the Bloodied Blueprint. This reveals the aura of the basement hooks to you for 20 seconds at the start of the trial. Tremendously increases the chance of spawning the basement in the Killer Shack if the map has a Killer Shack. Now, it's my understanding that this is a killer and a survivor offering. So, cool for the killers so you know where your basement is, but also great for the survivors so they know where the basement is. Interesting. We'll see how it plays out. As we go to the last 2, the Torn Blueprint. This gives you the auras of the hooks for 20 seconds as well, but this one tremendously increases the chance of the basement spawning in the main building if the map has a main building. Now again, technically speaking, every map has a main building, and well, most of the maps actually. I can't say all of them. Rotten Fields doesn't have one. That just has a shack, but anyway, you get the idea. This will be interesting. So I'm not sure if you'd rather have it in the shack or a main building, because some main buildings are a lot easier to fortify than a shack. So we'll see how it plays out. And finally, Viggo's Blueprint. I'm very interested that Viggo is playing a super heavy role in this DLC. The reason is I'm a huge fan of Viggo. If you know your lore, Viggo is kind of one of the longest running survivors that has the ability to not endure trials and has been trying to figure out ways out of the fog. Hopefully when I start doing lore videos, I'll definitely get to Viggo, because he is my favorite character in the entire game of Dead by Daylight at this time. But tremendously increase the chance of spawning the hatch in the main building if the map has a main building. So again, one more of those hatch spawn ones. Alright, so his power is the Blighted Corruption. Pastulia Serum courses through his veins, corrupting his mind and body, yet granting him unnatural physical abilities. Special ability, Rush. Press the power button to quickly rush forward. Doing so consumes a rush token. Now you start with 5 rush tokens. Normally 5 tokens. While performing Rush, the Blight cannot launch an attack. So the first time you use his ability, it's just a movement ability. That's it. You can't actually attack during it. Rush into a wall or obstacle in the environment to slam onto it. If the rush fails to connect with a wall or obstacle, or if the Blight is out of rush tokens, he will enter a short fatigue state and begin recharging the tokens. Special attack, Lethal Rush. Following a slam, press the power button to launch a lethal rush. Doing so consumes a rush token. A lethal rush behaves the same as a rush, except that the Blight may launch an attack by pressing the attack button. Now, the interesting thing to note is you have 5 tokens and 1 power bar. So you can use this power bar for your rush. However, when you'll have to slam into something and then ricochet using the lethal rush in order to actually hit somebody or down them. Otherwise, you're just using the rush for the movement speed. Super cool. I want to say that the speed is about Spirit Phase speed, but I'm not 100% sure on the speed yet. I have to do some more testing. But with that being said, let's go ahead and look in some of the add-ons. First add-on is the Placebo Tablet, a pill that's utterly ineffective, or is it? Anyway, slightly increase the recovery speed after a rush. So less downtime, pretty cool. The Foxglove slightly increases your rush speed. Again, the movement's very fast. You probably won't need this, but if you want to go fast, this is a good way to start going fast. Compound 7 slightly increases the turn rate during a rush. Now, a thing to note is you are sloshing through molasses while you're rushing. So kind of like Hillbilly and Oni, these will help your turning. The Chipped Monocle, in my opinion, the best common add-on he has, displays the target location of a slam and also automatically face the nearest survivor after a slam. So this will give a little circular radical on your screen that'll show where you're going to slam, and then after the slam it's going to jet your camera POV to the nearest survivor. Really cool. Check it out if you haven't. Super fun. The Shredded Notes moderately increase recovery speed after a rush. The Pastulia Dust slightly increases the speed at which rush tokens regenerate. These regenerate pretty quick, but if you want to keep zooming quicker, go ahead and start putting on these. Moderately increases turn rate while rushing. Moderately increases rush speed. Again, gotta go fast. Moderately increases slam duration. So this is an interesting one. It increases the duration on your slam so you can adjust where you're going. It kind of is like the blink window for Nurse if you want to, correlate it to something. So if you're having an issues with the connecting slams and rushes, this is something to look into. Considerably increased turn rate while rushing. That's the Umbra Salts. Hashtag Umbra. Rose Tonic considerably increases slam duration. Plague Bile, increase the amount of available rush tokens by 1, so this will bring you up to from default 5 to 6. The Compound 21 slightly increases rush speed for each consecutive rush, so the more times you ping pong, the faster and faster you'll go during this rush, so gotta go fast. The Alchemist's Ring moderately increases the speed at which rush tokens regenerate. Viggo's Journal, there's Viggo again. Gain the undetectable status while rushing. So this one's an interesting one if you want to go fast and be sneaky. It is the first of the very rare add-ons, but it is pretty powerful. Summoning Stone. Hitting a survivor with a lethal rush will call upon the entity to block pallets within a 16-meter radius of your location for 12 seconds. Does that sound familiar? Yes. Not only can you have a perk to lock pallets, but now you can have an add-on that locks pallets as well. Double team them or open up a perk slot, take your pick. Soul Chemical. Any survivor within 16 meters of a slam will suffer from hindered status effect for 3 seconds. Remember, slam is when you hit the object, and then you can keep going after that. So if you slam close to them, 16 meters, they'll be hindered for 3 seconds, slowing them down, allowing you to catch up and hit your target more effectively, especially if that slam is from the first rush, and then you can chain it into a lethal rush. Adrenaline Vial considerably increases the speed at which tokens regenerate and also decrease the amount of available rush tokens by 1. So this brings it default from 5 down to 4, but the speed at which you regenerate these tokens are super fast. Less times to ping pong, but quicker between ping pong, if that makes sense. The Iridescent Blight tag is an interesting one for those who remember the Halloween events. You have the glowing killers with the vials in their backs. They also have these tags. These are those tags brought to you by the Alchemist. So, upon using all rush tokens, your last lethal rush will put survivors in the dying state. So you can combine it with the Adrenaline Vial to put you at 4 tokens. And then after you use your 4th token, and you ping pong into a lethal rush, they are one-shot downs. Not as powerful as the iridescent head for Huntress, but still a one-shot down. Compound 33, the very last of the ultra rare add-ons for the Blight. When initiating a slam, reveal the aura of survivors within 16 meters of the collision location for 6 seconds. X-ray hacks. You get 100 blood points and deviousness for each survivor revealed, up to 400. Moderately increases rush speed for each consecutive rush. So not only do you get more blood points, but also you got to go fast, and you have X-ray hacks. Super powerful add-on. Really fond of his add-ons, really fond of his perks. The killer right now is a little jank, or it just has a larger skill curve than most would imagine. So we'll see how he plays out in the next couple weeks, especially upon release. We'll see what they change, see if they fix anything, see if he gets nerfed or buffed, and see if people can figure out how to play him or play against him. So now we're going to go to the survivor Felix Richter and go ahead and start looking at his perks. The first one is going to be that, and then we'll go to, I believe it's here. Yeah. Alright, so for the level 30 Teachable Visionary, you see generator auras within 32 meters. Anytime a generator is completed, Visionary has a cooldown of 16 seconds. First off, I'm not sure why it has a cooldown, but we digress. The second one, this perk, in my opinion, should be a neutral perk. It should be one that every survivor can get, because that would make it especially good for new survivors. Most people at this time really don't need this, I guess. If you want to constantly see the gens as you're walking, it's kind of like Bond, but for generators. So I guess it can be useful. It can be memey. I'm not sure. You guys decide. Let me know below. The 35 perk Desperate Measures, really interesting one. For each injured, hooked, or dying survivor, increase the speed of your healing and unhook actions by 14%. Now this is for every single one, including yourself. So 14 becomes 28, becomes, was that 42, becomes 56. 56% faster to unhook somebody. A 1 second unhook or less. You add Spine Chill, Resilience, that kind of stuff. Plus healing. This includes self-healing, so self-care, Botany Knowledge, will make it, No One Left Behind. Again, Spine Chill, Resilience. Yeah, this perk is bananas. It does it. Its effect. I think it affects medkits, so streetwise, and that'll segue us into the level 40 Teachable. Built to last. Once per trial, a depleted item will refill 50% of its charges after 10 seconds. So, you deplete an item, then it'll regain 50% of its charges after 10 seconds. So you use a purple flashlight, green battery, yellow battery, streetwise. You are going to have minutes of blinding, and then you just bring it back. Or let's say a ranger's medkit, emergency medkit even. I mean, put on some gel wraps, you know, some Botany Knowledge, some Metal and Memes. You're going to be healing for days. So his perks are really cool, except Visionary. Visionary's kind of meh. Good for new survivors, or great for new survivors. Okay for everybody else, I guess. But these two, in my opinion, are going to be seeing a lot of play, honestly. I really like it. This is the first DLC in a while that I've had good perks across the board, in my opinion. Plus, with the addition of the add-ons, or the offerings for both survivors and killers. And if you haven't seen the graphics updates, go ahead and take a look at that. This, in my opinion, is gearing out to be a super cool DLC. And if you haven't seen the backdrop, we got the pustules back for Halloween. We got a nice flower right there. Anyway, thanks everybody for hanging out. Hope you enjoyed this this look into the PTB for Chapter 17 4.2.0, and stay safe out there in the fog.